Hi guys, welcome to Time Out with Show. Ekabo, Barakada Zua, Ndewo. It's your girl Shola here. If you're new to my channel, welcome. And if you're a returning subscriber, hey, how you doing? Today we're doing something a little different. I have recently had to go through the process of renewing my passport, and I thought that I would help out by making this video. If you enjoyed that attempt of me saying welcome, hit the thumbs up button and then let's get into the video, okay? So recently I've had to renew my Nigerian passport, and I can't lie to you, the whole process was very like, was triggering a lot of anxiety for me. It was stressing me out, but thankfully I had a friend who had kind of recently done it, and so like every time I like had a question or I was panicking about something, I could ask them and I could like, you know, they could calm me down a little bit. So I thought that for anyone who doesn't know anyone who's like applied recently or been through the process recently, this would be a good one for you guys. So the first thing I'm going to say first is that all this information that I'm going to give you today is correct as of now, as of the day that this video goes up. I would say treat this as the bare minimum. There might be more things to do. You want to do your own research. Again, it might change, so don't come for me. I am not a member of the Nigerian High Commission. I do not know anybody there. I can't help you, okay? So that's my disclaimer. Don't come and say Shola from somewhere said you're your own, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna break this down into 4 main parts. Literally guys, I have a whole like notes. That's how like much detail I've gone into for this. So depending on what stage you're at, you know, you can just kind of refer back to the video and watch it so that, you know, you can kind of mentally prepare yourself for everything that's going to go on. So stage 1 is the online application. You essentially go on the website. I don't know what it is right now, but it will be in the description box below for sure. You go on the website, fill out the form. So once you're on the website, you see this page and just hit sign in, and then if you don't have an account, you obviously have to sign up for an account, but because I already have an account, I just put my details in there. Now it brings you to this little page here where there's 3 main tabs: create a new application, and then just fill out your details as it applies to you. I'm doing a renewal, so again, I'm hitting renew, sign a passport. These are the options. I'm hitting expired, and just pick your age group. So essentially you just need to fill out this information as it applies to you. If you're in the United Kingdom, this will be exactly the same for you. Here you need to choose your booklet type. Notice that the booklet type and the validity changes the total fee that you're going to pay. So for a 64-page 10-year passport, you pay $230, and for a 32-page 5-year passport, you pay $130, and for a 64-page 5-year passport, you pay $150. So just be wary that, you know, that changes. I'm just going to make up a passport number here just so that I can move on to the next stage. So hit continue, and then you have to enter your personal details at this point. So usually with this form, you're able to like fill it out and come back to it at a later date. So once you're comfortable, just hit save and exit. Because I haven't filled it out, I can't do that right now, and it would usually just apply in the incomplete application section. So when you haven't paid for your application, it will show up in the unpaid application tab. You're ready to book an appointment, just hit that. So you can find your application ID and your reference number on your appointment slip. You put that in here, hit next, and you can just book an appointment. If you just wanted to check the available dates for appointments, click check availability, select your preferred location, and then you should get an estimated date. So if you're at stage 2, it means that you have completed your application form, you submitted your application form, you've paid for your application form, and you have booked your appointment. And it also means that they've probably sent you a couple documents. The thing you need to know about this whole process is, don't expect to get loads of emails from the Nigerian High Commission. I think in total you get about 3 emails. Well, don't be thinking they're going to be emailing you regularly to remind you of your appointment. No, they're not doing they're not doing any of that. So bear that in mind. They're not going to remind you about your appointment. Stage 2 is essentially preparing for your appointment. Essentially, the appointment is for you to submit your documents and to give your biometrics and, you know, take your pictures and everything. Now, the first things first, this might sound very silly, this might sound very dumb, but the first thing is to know where your appointment is and know what time your appointment is. The Nigerian High Commission is in London, and I believe that there's only one in the whole of the UK, so wherever you live, you're coming to London. If you live outside of London, try and plan ahead, try and plan your commute, try and like, you know, get to grips with TfL, Transport for London. Try and like get to grips with how everything works. You don't want to be getting lost or missing your appointment on the day. You don't want to add stress to your day, essentially. Another thing I'll note for people who live outside of London is that try your best not to take any suitcase with you. So the very first time I had to renew my passport, I lived in Manchester, so I had like a hand luggage, you know, the small ones I can put in the cabin. I had that with me, and they told me, yeah, you can't bring this in. I didn't know that personally. It was nowhere on the website, so if you thought you could take it, you can't. So I had to find this place where I stored my bag for the day. This was like 5-6 years ago now, so unfortunately I don't remember how much it costs. I think it was somewhere between 10 and 20 pounds or something like that. That was a shock, to say the least. I will add the link of the place where I stored it in the description box. Anything I didn't need at that appointment, I didn't take with me, essentially. Once you've, you know, completed your application and paid and everything, so you get an appointment slip. I will kind of put on screen what my appointment slip looked like. So on the appointment slip, at the bottom of the appointment slip, there is a document checklist. So now just go through the whole thing and make sure that you have all those documents available to you on the day. Now, for some of the documents on the checklist, they're very specific. So like at the bottom here, you can see, you know, it talks about like, oh, if you're getting a divorce and all that stuff. So like some of them are very specific for like your individual need. So the ones I'm going to talk about today are more of the general ones that everyone's going to need. So the first thing I took was my NIN slip. I'll show you guys what that looks like. And then I took my completed application form. I took a payment slip and an acknowledgement slip. Now, these two slips are two complete different things. They're not the same thing, so don't be assuming that it's one and the same. They're two different things. As an FYI about the payment slip and acknowledgement slip, on my appointment day, I noticed that people had different kind of versions of the payment and appointment slip. I don't know why, because we're all applied online, but people got different versions. And initially I saw someone's payment slip and I was like, oh, I don't have that document. What's that document? Like, I don't know what that is, because it looked completely different to mine. But calm down, it's okay. That might happen, so don't be scared. As long as it says payment slip on there, you have the right document, right? So you're good. I took my most recent Nigerian passport with me. And then you also need to get the prepaid special delivery envelope and the postal order. I'll come back to those two in a bit because I feel like they deserve a bit more explanation. So in terms of things that I took that were extra, so I took my birth certificate with me. I printed a copy of the payment email. So I got an email from Innovate, that says, oh, you've paid. I also printed that out just in case, because personally I don't like stories I touch. I don't want to hear, have you paid? I can't figure out if you've paid. You know, I needed evidence I've paid. Like, do you know what I mean? I didn't want stress, so I took that with me. I also took a passport picture with me. Again, they didn't ask for this, but I just took it with me just in case. I took a pen with me. In fact, take two. You're going to be filling out some forms during the day. You're going to be writing a bunch of stuff. So just make sure you have a pen. The last thing you want to be is looking for a pen up and down. I also took a photocopy of my parents' passport data page or bio data page. So I took that with me as well. Listen, if you have any document that you have that proves identity, just take it with you. There's literally no harm. Take your BRP with you. Take your driver's license with you. Take your vaccination card with you. You know, this is yellow booklet, that the vaccination booklet, whatever proves identity, just take it with you. You're literally losing nothing from taking it with you. Because the thing about this whole process is that they changed the process without really like telling people they're changing the process, and I don't understand why. Like, their website is the least intuitive thing I've ever tried to use in my life. Like, it's just so, well, it's Nigerian through and through, is all I can say for real. But yeah, I took all these things with me. Of all the things I've mentioned, the things that they didn't actually take from me were, they didn't take my birth certificate, they didn't take the payment email. Note, the payment email is different from the payment slip. If you have misunderstood anything, rewind and listen again. Payment email different from payment slip. They didn't take my passport picture, and they didn't take my parents' photocopy. Now, Going back to the postal order and the prepaid envelope. Personally, these were the two things that stressed me out the most in the list, because I had never gotten a postal order and I was like, what is this? How do I get it? So you just need to go to your local post office, right? So if you go on Google, just type in post office near me and they should be able to sort you out. So when you get to the post office, say to the person at the counter, can I get a postal order payable to the Nigerian High Commission for £20? Simple as that. And it's essentially just looks like a check. So the postal order costs £20, but then there's an additional fee. I think it was around £3 or so. Let's just say £25. Another thing to note about the postal order is that it is only valid for 6 months after it's been issued. So you probably want to get it as close to your appointment date as possible. And then for the prepaid envelope, again, at the same post office, you can get this. So just ask the person at the counter, can I please get a special delivery stamped C4 envelope? And the envelope cost around £6.85. Again, I'll put pictures on screen and everything so you guys see what this looks like. We're spending like £30 on everything. Another thing I didn't know is that you can only purchase a postal order by cash and you can't pay by card. Just bear that in mind. Take your £30 in cash. You can actually pay for your special envelope with card. So that's pretty much it, preparing for the appointment. You want to think about your comfort as well when it comes to preparing for the appointment. It's going to be a bit of a stressful day, I'm not going to lie to you, but you need to just try and be comfortable. Have a bottle of water in your bag, have something to snack on, charge your AirPods, earphones, whatever, like whatever it is that's going to keep you sane and happy. Make sure you got it. Just mentally prepare to spend your whole day there. If you get some of your day back, great. If you don't, then you're not upset. Now moving on to stage 3. Now it's your appointment day. I had my appointment at 9 and I showed up to the venue at about 8 AM and there was already a queue. There was a queue that wrapped around the building. Best believe I was at the back, but back in like 30 minutes. The queue was even further. So I was at the back, but I wasn't at the back. I don't know how to explain it. My appointment was for 9 and I was out there by 11:30. So overall, I spent about 3.5 hours, 4 hours there. When you think about it in that way, it's not a long time, but it felt like a lot of time was passing. Let me tell you what exactly is going to happen. So you're going to join the queue outside. You're going to be outside, you know, waiting to be let in. So you don't want to have your documents like tucked away in your bag or anything. You want to have your documents out and ready to be checked, right? Sandra was going to ask for your appointment slip. So that was the first document that I had on there. It's going to ask for your appointment slip and then you show him your appointment slip. If he wants to look at the other documents, if he doesn't, up to him. But just have it readily accessible to him, because again, the last thing you want to deal with is anyone who's in a bad mood. Make things as easy for them as possible, then it makes it super easy for you. That's all I can advise. He handed me a slip which had a number in it, which was essentially my number. I was almost about to go inside without taking that slip. Don't be like me. Make sure you take that slip which has your number. Again, I'll put a picture of what the slip looks like on there. And then you grab your seat in this kind of waiting area and just wait for your number to be called, and then you go to the counter. Now, while I was waiting, this is when, you know, the surprises started to roll in. So I was sitting down, they made a few announcements. You had to like fill out some details on your, I can't remember if it was your payment slip or your acknowledgement slip. On one of the slips, you had to fill out some details. There's a screen there that kind of spells out the instructions and everything. So just watch for that. And also there'll be a man who's telling you, oh, can everybody please write their NIN number, their address, their phone number and their full name on this document. Said please don't memorize this part. Please don't memorize it. Please go there on the day and listen for instructions. You don't want to be doing what I've said just in case they've changed their process. But this is why I said, as long as you have a pen, you're ready, because they're not going to ask you for any information that you don't have. And then also at the back of your postal order, they're going to ask you to fill that out. This can all wait until you're sat there waiting to be called. Once you're called up, there's kind of like 2 different sections. So the first section, you go to the person, you give them all your forms, they go through it, they take out whatever they need to take and they're fine. And then they send you over to another counter where you're meant to do your NIN verification. Personally, I don't know what that queue was for, but I just waited there until the guy verified my NIN. I don't understand, because personally I just feel like isn't my NIN already verified? Like, surely it's already verified for me to even be here, for me to have an NIN slip. But you wait on that queue, you verify your NIN with the person, and then the person tells you to go upstairs. And then go into the waiting room, and then at this point, this is where you wait to do your biometrics and to like take your picture and everything. So when you're going in, there's like a reception, like a counter. So you want to pick up a form. Again, I'll put a picture up of what the form looks like. You just need to fill it out. There's nothing tricky on there. It's just your name, your address, your phone number, and your signature. So you just sit there and kind of wait for your name to be called. So someone just comes in the room and, you know, shouts out a bunch of people's names, and then they go to the other room. That's it. Part of the day is actually what took a bit longer. When you're downstairs, that was actually quicker for me. But this part took a bit longer. Slightly because I felt like there was also a bit no order. A few people that I know that I went into the room at the same time with, my name was called before them, and vice versa. Like I don't know what the order is. So once they finally call your name, you go for your biometric appointment, you do your fingerprint scan, you take a picture, and then the guy will give you a slip. So the guy will give you a confirmation slip, which just has like your details. And I think the most important thing on there to note is the collection date. That will tell you when they expect to be able to send you your new passport. I would say for sure, like, take a picture of that. You don't want to lose that, just in case you lose the physical copy. You have a picture on your phone. At this stage, they'll direct you back into the second waiting room that you were upstairs. You're going to go back to that waiting room, and the person at the counter is going to ask you for some documents. She's going to ask you for your special envelope. This is where that comes in. And the form that you were given when you enter the waiting room, so you have to give the person at the counter the form. You want to take a picture of your special envelope, the one that they're going to mail your passport back to you in, because it's going to have the tracking number for your passport. So make sure you have that so you can track your passport. So while you're submitting your special envelope, you need to make sure that you filled out the front of it with your name and address, and also with the High Commission address. So I'm on the wall in that room. The High Commission address is on there, so you don't need to know it when you're coming. So just write it down, write it straight from there. If you need any help with that process, just ask the person at the counter. Honestly, she was the nicest person in that whole building, in my opinion. Like, she was so helpful. At that point, she just gives you your current passport and you take that with you. That actually is a significant change from the previous time when I did my application. So the previous time when I did my application, they actually took my old passport, so I just didn't have anything. But this time around, they gave me my old passport. Because my passport is still valid for a couple of months, you know, I'm still able to like travel and do some stuff with it, and so I'm not like trapped, you know, which is good. And that is essentially it for the day. Once you've done that, you are free to leave the premises. Just go about your day and have a great time. Now, finally, stage 4. This is after the appointment. Now, on my confirmation slip, my collection date, or the date that I should be expecting my passport, so it was 2 months away from the day that I had my appointment. I was hoping that by the time I started filming this, that I would have received my said passports. The 2 months have now passed. It's actually been 2 months and a week or so now. My passport is nowhere to be found. But there's 2 ways you can kind of check the progress of your application. You can try and use your tracking number on Royal Mail to see if that maybe they've shipped it, maybe it's on its way, that kind of thing. Currently, mine has not been shipped. It has not even, Royal Mail has not even scanned the package, so they know nothing about it. And then the second way is actually like an application tracker on the website. I'll put the link to it in the description, but this will tell you like what stage your application's at. So unfortunately, I don't know how long it's going to take just yet, but I promise that I will definitely update in the comment section and tell you guys when I received my passport, so you guys know what the total length of the process is. But as of right now, we're at 4 months and 2 weeks. And that's pretty much it in terms of like what you have to do. I think once you've attended your appointment and you've done your biometrics and everything, it's pretty much out of your hands. So just let go and wait for your passport to arrive, really. Don't try calling the Nigerian High Commission. It will be a fruitless endeavor. Like, you're not gonna get anywhere. So now the final part of this video is gonna be like some frequently asked questions, like questions that I had during this whole process. What's the length of validity of your current passport for you to apply for a renewal. Does that make sense? At the time that I attended my biometric appointment, I still had about 6 months on my passport, so my passport is still valid for 6 months. But when I was actually booking and everything, it was like, I guess about around 8 months essentially, but less than a year. And I was kind of worried that, oh, are they going to be like, actually sis, like your passport is still valid for like a good 6 months, you can't do this. So I was really worried about that. But the answer to that is, if your passport is valid for a year and below, so anywhere from like 12 months to, you know, it has expired, you're fine. You're fine to apply. Because the way that you should think about it is, most countries that you want to travel to, if you need to apply for a visa, they're going to need you to have 6 months validity on your passport. Before you hit that 6 month mark, you want to have started the process. I know people who have done this process like after I have, and for instance, I said I waited 2 months after submitting my application online to get the earliest appointment date. I know waited about between 3 and 4 months. So the goalpost keeps moving. Start it as soon as possible. You don't want to put yourself in a situation where, you know, your passport's expired, especially if you're living in a country where you're on a visa. Peace of mind is important. You also need to remember that the people there, they're just doing their jobs. They're doing their best. Even though we might feel like they're not doing their best, they're doing the best that they can do. Are you getting it? They're doing the best that they can do. They're doing their best. So a smile, a good morning, good afternoon, whatever, you know, being polite, being like respectful, everything will get you a long way. And I hope for, you know, everyone who's watching this sake, your experience is good, was as good as mine, even better. Feel free to drop me a comment if you're struggling with anything and you need help, or you just, you know, there was something I said that wasn't clear. So yeah, good luck with your application. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you found this video useful, please don't forget to subscribe, and I'll speak to you guys some other time. Bye.